Are you looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football and basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select two or more players, pick more or less on their projections for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the PrizePicks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/bluewire and use code BLUEWIRE. That's code BLUEWIRE at prizepicks.com/bluewire for a first deposit match of up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Support for this podcast comes from Frito-Lay and the 2023 Snack Bracket Championship. The Frito-Lay Snack-It Challenge is underway, and fans are voting on their favorite snacks to crown champion. We're talking about prime-time matchups between the best 64 snacks in the land. Will Ruffles Ridges reign supreme? Can Doritos defend their dynasty? Or will Smart Food use their smarts for a surprise upset? Only you can decide. Get in on all the action for a chance to win up to $1,000 or a year's worth of snacks. Let your snacks be heard. Just go to fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com to vote and enter for a chance to win. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends April 3rd, 2023. Void where prohibited. Year's worth of snacks awarded in the form of 52 coupons, each good for one bag of chips. See official rules at fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com.
Hello, everybody. It's Kirk Henderson and Josh Bowe coming to you for a Sunday night edition of Mavs Moneyballs After Dark. I guess that doesn't really make sense if the sun's still up, but whatever. The Dallas Mavericks just fell to the Phoenix Suns 130-126 on the ABC early Sunday game. Josh, how you doing?
Doing okay. It makes sense for the early Sunday game to make everything feel a little bit more discombobulated than it should.
It does.
I'm on my wife's MacBook, and my desktop PC is in the shop, so took a little bit to get us going. And me and Kirk both have pretty good family obligations, so Sunday afternoon games are pretty tough. So let's just lean into the weirdness then.
Well, speaking of weirdness, it seemed that the Mavericks got off to an odd start because Luka Doncic was not himself early. I don't want to read into this. I just want all of you, every listener that's listened to this show before, to know what's in my head. I'm going to communicate it to you telepathically right now, okay? Good, got it. So we don't have to go over what I'm thinking, what you're thinking, what everyone else was thinking, what no one will say out loud. Good, glad. Did you see the early portion of the game?
I did not. I'm sorry.
So
I kind of followed along. I saw that Luka did not play well at all.
The first half of the game, both Luka and Kyrie were pretty bad, inefficient, and the guy who kept them in the game was Tim Hardaway.
Yep.
And the Mavericks really shot the hell out of the ball as a team from three. It was like, I think they were 10 for 20 at half from three. And that basically gave them a 3-point lead. It was Kevin Durant, very good basketball player, is kind of one of my big draws from this game. But as the game wore on, and particularly if you go look at like the box score numbers, it really doesn't make any sense how Dallas was in this game at all.
I know. It's free throws. I mean, just that's really it.
The Mavericks shot.
They made 15 more.
Okay, yeah, 35 to 38 right? For the Mavericks. Good Lord, that's a good percentage. And the Suns shot 20 to 25. So that's, you're right. That's basically just what kept them in the game, because when you go through the kind of counting stats numbers and just here's some basics, the Suns out-rebounded the Mavericks 51 to 36. The Suns had 27 assists to the Mavericks 15. The Suns shot 55% from the floor to the Mavericks 49%. The Suns shot 35% from three to the Mavericks 35% to the Mavericks 39.5, which means in the second half the Mavericks effectively shot 30% from three, which that'll catch up to you, and that's okay. Then you get to some of the real defining numbers of this game. The Suns had 15 second chance points to the Mavericks 3, and it was a late second chance point by DeAndre Ayton, who did not have much of an offensive game, that really gave the Suns a chance to go over. And Maxi Kleber didn't play in this game. That was probably, if you're looking for like Maxi would have been playing at the end of the game over Powell. And I if you're looking for like a silver lining, maybe that's something that you can hold on to, because Powell can't do it. And
it's not like Maxi's a terrific rebounder either, though.
For sure. No, for sure. But Powell challenged at the rim and got knocked all the way back past the baseline and wasn't even in the play when Ayton gets the and it's like that sort of stuff just doesn't seem to happen as frequently with Maxi in. It was a really it was a fun basketball game. Like, I'm not super fired up about this one because it was, Tim Hardaway going nuts really helped. Josh Green had a really tough first half and then bounced back. I thought he played nice D in the second half. I think, would you say, is it safe to say that Josh's first half is probably why he wasn't out there in clutch time?
Yeah. And especially with the way Tim was shooting in the first half, even though Tim only finished with 3 points in the second half. I think that was probably the reason there.
Like, angry Kirk in the middle of the night. Like, if this were like a West Coast game at night, I'd be pissed at hell at Kid for having Hardaway in the game, because for those who didn't see, Kevin Durant hit the game-winning shot over Hardaway, but it was like a reasonably well-defended shot. It's just a 15-foot, pull up from. It was a solid reminder of why Kevin Durant, even at his age, is still considered like MVP, all NBA caliber basketball player.
It looked like a practice jumper, and that's not to short sight Tim Hardaway. It's just that Durant is like, he feels like he's almost a foot taller than THJ when they're standing out there, Durant's just, he's a 7-footer with long arms, and THJ is, a solid 6'5". It's just, there's nothing really he could have done.
Right. Right. That's where it's like DFS had when he was a Maverick, always seemed to give Kevin Durant a little bit of a challenge because of DFS's range, like literal range. There's nobody on the Mavericks now that's a wing defender that's taller than 6'5", and that sort of thing is just that catches up with them in matchups against 7 foot, however tall. Matthews swears he's 6'1", huge guy, like one of the best basketball players on earth. Hard to really get mad about that. I will say that the tactical back and forth in this game was very interesting, as Josh Okogie for the Suns was 0 for 8 from 3.
It's like he regressed to the mean in one game.
Oh my God. Which then of course meant that this guy Ish Wainwright had to play. And Ish Wainwright hit 4 or 5 from 3. God, Ish Wainwright is huge. 6'5", 250 pounds.
Yeah, he's a bowling ball.
He's a Baylor guy. I didn't know that. And Luka I guess the scouting report was, don't challenge Ish Wainwright. And if that's the challenge, and that might, like, seriously, that very well might have been like, you don't need to challenge him, like, let him shoot, and then corral Ayton on the rebounds. And it didn't work.
That's why everyone was so scared about the Suns when the Durant trade was made. When Paul, Booker, Durant, and Ayton are on the floor, doesn't logic dictate, all right, just don't guard the fifth guy, help off of the fifth guy. Like, don't let Booker or Durant get a clean look. Make this fifth guy beat them, whoever they're going to play, whether it's Wainwright, whether it's Okogie, whether it's Terrence Ross or Torrey Craig. Like, you're like, I would rather them shoot with the game on the line than any of those other 4, all-stars for the most part. And the Mavericks did, and Wainwright made the shots. It was a really fun game. Again, every Mavericks game since this Kyrie trade feels like Mavs Kings from 2003. It's just back and forth. Like, the fourth quarter was a lot of fun, even if Mavs fans are pretty mad. Both these teams, like, it's not like one team went cold for a quarter. Like, each quarter, no team won a quarter by more than the Suns winning the first by 6. Or no, sorry, the Mavs won the second by 9. But otherwise, like, it's pretty like every other quarter was almost a 1-possession quarter. So, neither of these teams went on like a big enough run to take control of the game outside of what Phoenix did in the first 10 minutes maybe. But yeah, it was a weird game because it's like, part of it, I'm watching that fourth quarter and I'm watching Luka and Kyrie kind of like will this thing to the finish line, and I'm like, this is why you make the trade, right? Like, you don't win a game like this unless you have 2 all-stars. Like, since that
Kyrie shot making was disgustingly cool. Like, he just had a couple where it's like, oh my God, nobody else in the league can take these kind of shots.
Right. And I keep like watching this game and watching that Sixers game. I'm just trying to imagine what would those games have looked like if the Mavericks just didn't really make a big trade and it was still Spencer and Dorian on the team and without another major addition. I'm like, they probably lose both of them. Like, it's just not a slight to those guys. It's just in these big games, like talent wins. Like it's almost always talent wins unless you have sometimes some things happen, but there's not a lot of upsets in the NBA. In the NBA, like I saw something the other day on Twitter where it was like, I mean, basically the NBA champion from the last 25 years, it's a top 4 seed from either conference. Like
it might even be a top 3 seed.
Yeah, like I think the 4th seed only won it like once. So it's like, it's talent wins. So I just have a feel, despite the fact that the Mavericks created some extra weaknesses and deficiencies with the trade, because like you've said almost every podcast, the 2-for-1, they lost a starter despite how good Kyrie is. Like that's causing some problems, but like I just don't think that they can match up in these last 2 games if they hadn't have made that trade. So yeah, to be 1-1 in those games is a little disappointing when you could have won both of them. But I also can kind of see like.
Today's episode is brought to you by Cars.com. With over 2 million vehicles and 50,000 more added every day, Cars.com will match you with the perfect car for you, your budget, your life, your style. And if you're ready to say goodbye to your current car, Cars.com will get you an instant offer to cash it in. Just start by entering your license plate and get matched with a local dealer who will write you the check. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, just go to Cars.com. It's magical.
I can see the end game clearer now with what they have right now than I did a month ago. I can see where this team can become a contender, where if the Kyrie thing works, if he's on good behavior, if they can re-sign him, again, these are big ifs, but it's like, I can at least see it. If they can keep him, make another move or 2 this summer, to replenish the wing depth that they lost with Dorian going out, you can see the path to them being good, being, a top 4 seed in this conference or a top 4 team in this league. So again, it's disappointing, but the path is a little clearer now, despite the losses, despite this loss, I think.
Yeah. And, I talked to a non-Mavs fan who watched the game from start to finish, because you and I caught the second quarter and fourth quarters.
I was third and fourth.
And the non-Mavs fan I talked to described this as a game full of grifting from either team, to where, we were having kind of an interesting post-game discussion about, because towards the end of the game, Luka and Booker got into a tiff. Where like I don't understand why Devin Booker would talk to Luka at all. Like at all. It has not worked out.
That's not how these guys are wired.
I know. But it's he ginned him up right before the end, and that's something that that's gonna simmer with Luka for a long time.
And especially after he missed that bunny. Like we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, and like Luka got to the line a ton. 19 free throws. And he was 17. He hit 17 of them, to his credit. 2 of the only 3 missed Mavericks
I wonder
shots, free throws all game. And Luka, go ahead.
I just to decide. I wonder if that's the most free throws he's made in a game. It's got to be up there.
17. That's an interesting question.
You keep going with your point. I can look that up on that.
So it's one of these things that I've just sort of we've been talking about in terms of I think the Luka has eclipsed fully into kind of like villain mode, and not even like villain. Like a lot of non-Mavericks fans that watch the NBA are now fully worn out with the Luka experience. They don't like him talking. They don't like how he is James Hardening the shit out of things, and it's not fun for people to watch him complain. That said, I think that a couple of tweaks to this roster, because like Luka only had like 4 assists, I think, and like Luka's game is predicated on passing. Like he scores
really
because he
passing.
can. Yeah, and it's one of these things where it's I don't know, more shot makers. Like there was like Kyrie Irving had 8 makes off of Luka passes in the previous game. Like that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how many times has that ever happened in Mavs history? Because despite how many open shots he gets guys, and I don't know, I'm kind of rambling at this point because I'm a little bit disappointed that this season has, because of just circumstances, Luka's kind of fully crossed over from the guy. Like everybody recognizes how good he is, but he's no longer like the wunderkind. That's not. Yeah,
and that happens to everyone, though.
Yeah, it does. That's true. That's true.
Always, the shine wears off, and Twitter does what Twitter does, and goes after. But I understand. Yeah, it is. I did notice on my timeline that if I was seeing tweets and it wasn't a Mavs fan or it wasn't a Suns fan, it was generally like, I hate both of these teams. Like I don't like watching Luka. I don't like Devin Booker. So I've definitely noticed a shift too. By the way, I did look it up. 18 is the most he's made free throws Luka has made in a game. He's done it twice. He did it earlier this year against Houston, and then funny enough, he did it against Phoenix in 2020. So 18 is the most free throws he's made in a game. So he almost got there.
Yeah, I don't know. So this was fun. I liked it.
Yeah.
I would do it again. The Mavericks are 6th. The Suns are 4th. With the way the Western Conference is sort of yet to shake out, I think you could say there's an outside chance these two teams play each other. Either the Suns would continue to climb. I mean, there's a number of ways that these two teams could play each other, because if the Suns are going to play like this, like they've won 3 straight with Kevin Durant, like they have 36 wins, and then Kings have 37, and Memphis has 38, and Memphis is about to enter a world of pain, I think.
Yes.
Because what was it? They had Brandon Clark tore his Achilles tendon, out for the year.
Secretly, like a huge part of that team.
Really effective guy. And then Dylan Brooks, who is often the other team's best player, got his 16th technical, and he's going to miss games. He matters to them. And then Ja Morant had his social media incident over the weekend, and he's missing 2 games that the Grizzlies and he have agreed that he's missing, but the NBA will absolutely suspend him too. Like
he broke some rules there.
I wouldn't be surprised if he misses both Mavs games. Because
there's 3 more Mavs games. He might miss all 3.
They have a back-to-back.
Right? Oh, okay.
They played twice in a row. I don't know if it's back-to-back.
The third one isn't that far away. It's like a week after that. So
yeah. So anyway, I bring that up to say that like there's a chance the Suns could rise, and like just because of how the Mavericks are playing, I don't see them like going on a collapse, because they have too many soft spots in the schedule up ahead. But I also don't see how they go on a run with this defense.
Yeah. The defense is probably the thing we have to talk the most. I mean, we don't have to talk too much about it, but it's just like it's just like non-existent in a way that's, it doesn't like. What's weird is it's like, I mean, this is the case for all defenses, but like it doesn't matter who they're playing, and it's just like the ease at which like you look at this game isolated, and you're like, well, of course the Suns have Booker,
right?
And Paul.
You're not really getting mad at the Suns,
right? But then you look at their schedule, and it's like, but they don't stop anyone. Like it's just they haven't allowed under 110 points. Like the last time they allowed an opponent to score under 110 points was February 8th against the Clippers, and Luka didn't play in that game. Otherwise, like you just look at their schedule, and since they had those nice little wins against Detroit and New Orleans, which those teams are like offensively challenged right now, like if they play any team that's not tanking, it's like a guaranteed 115 points, 50% shooting. Like it's even with the NBA as it is, it's just, and as we're seeing it, you can't win that way. Like you can't. Like they've lost. How many they've lost since they won that Sacramento game? So Luka came back Saturday, February 11th. So they've 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are 2-6. So they're 2-6 in their last 8. And the deep, like, and that's just, and you look at every loss, and it's defense. Like they haven't lost a game. Like you don't see like a random 100-98 or like a 105-101. Like they've lost almost all of those games where the other opponent has scored at least 110, even 120, 130.
Yep.
And it's just not sustainable. Like it's the most like You just can't do it. And, the Suns, you look at the Suns shot chart. I don't know if you've looked at it. It's freaking hilarious. Like the whole thing is green. They were 16 of 18 at the rim. They were 10 of 17 in the paint outside the rim. They were 11 of 20 on mid-range, and they were 7 of 15 on above the break threes. The only part of the floor they didn't shoot above league average was the left corner three, where they were 3 of 14.
Yeah, and who shot most of the shots? Josh Okogie.
Right. So, think about that. The Suns scored 130 points, and they missed how many corner threes? 3.
It's a lot. It's like
they missed 12 corner threes, which is like the easiest jumper in basketball. Like the Suns could have scored 150 tonight or today. Yeah. So it's just, and again, no Maxey, but Maxey was on the floor against the 76ers, and the 76ers scored at will. So it's just, and it comes back to. Like I said, I think they did the right thing in terms of we got to trade for an all-star if he's available, especially at a discount, and if they think that they can retain him. But they just couldn't solve all their issues. This doesn't get solved until the summer. There's just nothing they can really do about it, I don't think.
Nope. Which means I'm going to do my best to not get super frustrated about games anymore.
At least they're fun.
Yeah, no.
I'd rather, if they're going to lose games, losing games 130 to 126 is not the worst way to lose games. At least that keeps us entertained. At least they're not losing 125 to 98.
No, that's a really good point. Yeah. Well, all right, I'm going to go record a live show. We'll see if everybody's mad. How many the Mavs play? So was this the end of their home stretch, or do they got one more in this? Because
they got one more Utah on Tuesday, and then they go on the road for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of their next 6 are on the road.
Yeah, they need this win to split this homestand.
Actually, 500. Looking at their schedule, I mean, they do have a lot of cupcakes left. They play Charlotte twice.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of road games. They play 1, 2,
I mean, there's 3, a case
4,
that 5, they could get wiped.
6, 7, 8, 9. They play 10 road games before the season's over. And we've seen how they play on the road regardless of opponent.
What are they here? Where do we have our home road split? I can't find it at the moment.
I got it. They are 12 and 19 on the road.
Okay.
So buckle up for the last month here of games.
God, could you imagine if they fell out?
Man, I don't want to.
I don't want to either. You're right. All right, Kirk and Josh been hanging out on a Sunday. We'll see you guys with that Utah game. That's a 7:30 start time on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's no. Yeah, we pretty much play every other day for a while, which will be. I like that rhythm. So
yeah, the 2 days off throw me off.
Yeah, it's for sure. All right, everybody, be good and have a good start to your week, and we'll talk soon. Go Mavs.